How do I get a mutual fund? If you're like most people, you either currently own one or more mutual funds or at least have owned one at some point in your investing history. Mutual funds are the most popular investment vehicle out there for most investors, but also probably the least understood. A surprising amount of people owning mutual funds still believe they are a way to invest with no fees. They believe mutual funds are either an exception to the rule or else agree there are costs involved, but those costs are paid by the mutual fund fairies who take care of things for them so they can sleep at night. Well, nothing is free and there are no such things as mutual fund fairies either. Now, before you get all upset with me telling you there are no such things as fairies and mutual funds are no exception to having costs, let's take a quick look at some of the basic fees with mutual funds. We are merely trying to provide you with information to help you better understand what it is you and so many people like you are risking your future and by solely relying on mutual funds to accomplish your investment goals. Something we need to note on the fees paid by the fund. While these are fees paid by the fund management, they are indirectly paid by the investor, which we'll touch on later. There are basically three types of fees here, with one falling into both categories. These are the sales fees and again fall into three types. These are funds that you would purchase where the sales fees are paid by you up front. They are calculated as a percentage against your initial investment and are paid directly to the dealer, however they can be negotiated. These are funds where the fees are paid by the fund managers to your dealer. Something to note here: while these fees are not paid by you, there is a redemption fee. This fee you will have to pay if you redeem any of your funds within a specified period of time. It typically is 7 years and it does decrease the longer you hold the fund. These are funds where there is no front or back end load. That doesn't mean there are no fees. These types of funds typically have trailer fees on them. These fees are structured as follows. Sales fees are an area where you have a choice depending on what kind of fund you choose. So remember these different types when choosing your funds. A note before we begin the explanation on what these fees are. Although these fees are paid by the fund, it is important to understand that these are indirectly paid by the investor, which is you. Funds with different MERS and trailer fees can have a significant impact on your overall return, so pay special attention to what you're being charged. Most people have heard of MERS but again don't really understand what those are. The simplest way to explain MERS is the fund's cost of doing business. These fees cover the management fees, operating expenses, and taxes. Every fund is a different MER. The MER is based on a percentage of the fund's total value, so obviously it can vary from fund to fund. It's important to note that while the range percentage-wise is small, the impact it has on you as the investor is significant though. Trailer fees are paid by the fund management company and are included in the MERS. They typically range from 1 on back-end load funds. The thing to note with trailer fees is that it is possible for them to actually increase the longer you are invested in that fund. Remember that everything has a cost and nothing is free. Every cost impacts your investment. A slight increase in any of these fees can have a significant impact on your investments long term. Most importantly, even if the fund you are invested in loses money, you still have to pay these fees. Think about it: even if the mutual fund manager loses 25-60+ of your portfolio,